me, I made an incremental tower defense game. The tower is like the tower defense games you got. You have to prevent your tower from waves. There's only one tower, but there are thousands of upgrades to pick from. It's a mix of tower defense and incremental games where you'll be grinding to earn tons.
While we might not ever get to experience what it would have been like to join Team Rocket at the end of Nugget Bridge, we'll at least get a taste for it in Coliseum with the concept of stealing Shadow Pokemon. Before the existence of games such as Sun and Moon and Legends Arceus, a Pokemon game where Pokemon attack you or a journey without gym bag progression was out of the question. It's here where Pokemon Coliseum walked, so Legends Arceus could run, because Pokemon Coliseum was where that experience first came to life, with its emphasis on Shadow Pokemon and specific evil villain boss battles. You see, the concept of wild Pokemon doesn't actually exist in Coliseum. Instead, you'll be limited to stealing away Shadow Pokemon throughout the entire game. And while this does lower the roster of Pokemon available to you, I can't help but feel that this isn't that big of a problem, especially with how popular Nuzlocke challenges are to the modern-day Pokemon gamer, where you can only catch the first Pokemon on each route, making each teammate fun, different, and super valuable. As you progress the game with the limitations set before you, letting you experience using many Pokemon that you might not have ever used before. And that's the exact experience you have with the 51 Shadow Pokemon available throughout the game. However, what looks even better is what replaced both the gym badge and single battle system you've likely grown accustomed to in every main series Pokemon game. Because every battle in Pokemon Coliseum is a double battle. And if facing Team Liza as the 7th gym leader in the Hoenn region games was any sign of how difficult the double battle could get, then you have seen nothing yet. Each time that you visit the gritty, fantasy-like towns in the game, you'll also have to take on a big boss battle by the end of that town, the likes of which are on the same level of difficulty as Team Liza, but arguably worse. Let's take the third boss battle of the game against Deadkin, for example. This entire team is based around abusing the move Earthquake, which in a double battle not only hurts your secondary teammate Pokemon, but both of your opponent's Pokemon as well, with a 100 base power ground move. And in order to combat this without hurting his own Pokemon, most of his teammate Pokemon carry Protect, which lets this man dominate the battlefield with the strongest Earth move in the game without ever hurting his partner Pokemon. This forces you to fight strategy with strategy like a modern VGC battle, which is the format that Pokemon uses for competitive Pokemon. And much like a VGC battle, the Pokemon these boss battles will lead with will be unknown to you, as your lead Pokemon are always chosen randomly. And it's because of this double battle system, crazy villain fights, and limited Pokemon availability that I would argue that this is the hardest official Pokemon game ever created. And it only gets harder from here when the trainers start bringing fully evolved and higher level Pokemon, like how the final boss of the game utilizes strategies such as using Skill Swap on Slacking to get rid of its really bad ability. So, with this insanely challenging Pokemon game presented to us, how does speedrunning evolve this experience? Breaking it down to its core. The speedrun for Pokemon Coliseum require very high stats on your starting Pokemon, to the point where it's about a 3% chance to even start a speedrun without the help of RNG manipulation. Espeon. Espeon is a powerful Pokemon that dominates the speedrun with really high speed, amazing special attack, and moves like Psychic, Hidden Power Grass, Protect, and Return. One of which is a physical move on a Pokemon that has a really bad attack stat. The reason behind using this move is hidden in a mechanic you might not have noticed immediately, which is the battle animation system. Much like its console counterparts, Stadium 1 and 2, battle animations will always play without giving you the ability to turn them off or on. And it's in this decision to keep them on permanently that evolves the move-picking aspect of battling for a speedrunner. Because now, we have to take into account Return being the fastest move in Espeon's move pool, or even how our other starter Pokemon, Umbreon, can stop enemy animations with taunt, making it so satisfying when they can't tail whip, leer, howl, or growl, letting you crush everything with Espeon the next turn while they can't do anything. But this evolution combo won't last for long, as there there's a very special shadow Pokemon waiting to be stolen in the first big town of the game. It's here in Phoenix City where you'll be acquainted with Rui for the first time after rescuing her from being stuffed into a potato sack, followed by confronting the bald criminals, saying hi to the mayor, and meeting a ton of villains who really seem to enjoy gathering inside of the mayor's office. You'll leave his office pretty quickly after you enter, and it's here where a Johto starter shadow Pokemon of your choice will become available. But you can only pick one. And if my Johto speedrunning content is anything to go off of, the best and fastest of the three will never be Chikorita. Get out of here. It'll be Quilava. Quilava is quite powerful and evolves into a Pokemon with the exact same base stats as Charizard. But the most important factor for choosing it is actually the speed of Quilava's battle animations. Previously, the speedrun had been done with Crocodile, but even with how amazing Surf is as a move, it's got a really slow animation that plays out multiple times per turn in a double battle. Because of how good it was at destroying the game, on top of daunting sections filled with ground and rock type Pokemon that are hard to KO for fire Pokemon, Quilava ended up becoming extremely underlooked. But with powerful and fast move animations like Flame Wheel, Fire Blast, Dig, and eventually Earthquake, it's easy to see why we switched over to the Hedgehog in the first place. To get all those moves I listed, however, you gotta earn them from a Shadow Pokemon. Because one key mechanic I waited till now to explain is the purification system in Pokemon Coliseum. In order for a Pokemon to unlock its full moveset, or even past the level that you caught it at, you have to purify its corrupted bark, which is a feature only available through the use of this
Given that's possible to become worldwide with intel, it's as they supersede the joy of giving back. I have been announced to travel through the world, and I love it when they all come out and toffee guides what everyone loves. Hazelnuts and caramel, hazelnuts, red, and chocolate. There's so much fun in toffee.
at the stone that you can only reach after the first big boss fight in the game. And that's quite an undertaking when you only have a single move in your inventory. But that single move is one that I would describe as the most powerful move to ever exist in a Pokemon game. That move being Shadow Rush. Shadow Rush is a move that has 0 resistances, and on top of that, a 95% chance to critical hits when a Shadow Pokemon goes into Hyper Mode, which can only be activated by using Shadow Rush in the first place. Hyper Mode also comes with so many insane benefits on top of this crazy critical hit chance, like giving you the ability to use the Call feature, which is arguably the best way to get the purification meter down. But even with all these upsides, there are some pretty massive downsides to Hyper Mode. First off, if you use a move besides Shadow Rush while in Hyper Mode, your Pokemon will straight up disobey you, sometimes going as far as to fall asleep, attack your own teammates, use an item without your permission, and so on and so forth. The second is that you can't directly use items on Pokemon in Hyper Mode, forcing you to either call it out of Hyper Mode, then use an item, or use healing machines if you're too low on HP. And the last is your ability to purify a Pokemon quickly, or even get into Hyper Mode in the first place, is tied to the nature of your Pokemon. You see, each nature favors a certain method of getting your purification meter down. Just walking, sending out a Pokemon, using an item called an incense, or calling the Pokemon out of Hyper Mode, adding so many layers of complication to purification. But when you're speedrunning to beat the game as fast as possible, this process becomes much easier to manage when the goal is centered around getting Quilava to become a high explosion. Even with just Quilava, purification is definitely still a problem. But what really gets in the way of our speedrunning dreams will be shadow Pokemon like Turret. Normally, Turret is not a very threatening Pokemon, but oh my god, is this first battle after getting Quilava the true gatekeeper to getting a speedrun off of the ground. Because Gatekeeper Tail is one of those fights that are normally only hard to deal with for a speedrunner, like Hideki from Omega Ruby on Sapphire. Part of why this fight is so difficult is because of your need for a good nature and special attack on the lava, which is not guaranteed since its stats can't be manipulated in the speedrun. However, bigger challenge is surviving using burning and courage compared to the walls and no scope in prison. The movement in prison makes it so that Ispion can't use confusion until Rolf's faints, creating a massive problem when the lava gets in hyper mode immediately and doesn't take it out. Luckily, the guy does have random AI, but it's so easy for you to lose a run to a bad combination of unavoidable circumstances. The reason why we have to fight Gale in the first place is because he gives you one of the first clues about Cypher and their shadow Pokemon, which lets you slowly learn of the existence of Cypher once you get past the Coliseum, go into this shady building, then finally inside of a cave on the roof of the building, all of which progress you into the meat of the story, where we'll be showcasing the best features used in a Pokemon Coliseum speedrun. And that is the glitches. Now hold on, I know I may have lost some of you with the thought of corrupting the integrity of a speedrun with glitches. To that I say, are we not already stealing our way to the end of the game for the greater good of the speedrun? Hell yes we are. So glitches should be just as acceptable, especially since these glitches solve 3 problems we have to deal with throughout the game. One is the limited amount of money that you have. The next is the small number of Pokeballs you obtain, and the final is that every Shadow Pokemon carries a valuable held item. The first Pokemon that we see in this game is Shadow Metatype. That'll be holding onto a Twisted Spoon, an item that boosts Psychic-type moves when held by a Pokemon. This gives our Espeon such a massive boost to its power, but in order to catch it, we'll need to resort to the coolest glitch in Pokemon Coliseum, the Infinite Pokeball glitch. In order to perform this glitch, you need at least 2 different types of Pokeballs in your bag. And by throwing the first ball on your first Pokemon turn, you can then go into your bag on your second Pokemon's turn and swap the positions of the 2 different Pokeballs. This makes it so the Pokeball you threw never gets used since you just swapped its position in the bag, and can even be done with a Master Ball. But unfortunately, the speedrunners will only have access to Gray Balls and Pokeballs at this point, which is fine for the Galava and Metatype catches. And after catching Metatype for its spoon, you'll immediately swap that onto Espeon, sweep a bunch of grunts, then confront the most hilarious boss in the game, Mirror B. And it's during this fight that the second glitch comes in handy. When going into the fight with Mirror B, there are a few things you need to know. The first is that this man has 4 different Ludicolo, all of which are different levels and can be randomly sent out as a lead Pokemon. The second is that, much like Daphne, he has a strategy that he loves to go for, and that strategy is making sure rain is always up on the field, which gives us the opportunity to set up using the second glitch. After this glitch, we need to target a secondary Pokemon with an item that can't be used on them, such as a revive when a Pokemon is alive, or a full heal when a Pokemon is in status. You can then clear the text that tells you you can't use this item, followed by using an X item afterwards. This lets you use X items on that secondary Pokemon that uses targeting with that item that can't be used, which is a feature that didn't exist in Double Battles until later iterations of Pokemon. To be able to use that feature in a game built with only Double Battles is an insane.
Istanbul.
Tool to have access to, because now you can just focus on blasting your opponent into oblivion with one Pokemon while using the other to set up that Pokemon into the ultimate blaster. It's such an insane glitch, and really becomes the bread and butter for dealing with these boss battles in speedrun, adding so much more strategy to each fight, especially when every single boss has a pattern to it. And I could go on and on with how these boss fights can be broken down all day, especially taking into account the final portion of the game, where you're forced into a massive tower and you re-battling every one of those ridiculous boss fights, but with even stronger Pokemon on their team. This game seriously just doesn't stop. And it's part of what I love about speedrunning Coliseum, because it takes that self-limitation aspect that I love so much from the Nuzlocke talent, the insane boss battles that I adore from other RPGs, and packages that into the ultimate Pokemon game. And while these strategies could be used in a Nuzlocke, regular playthrough, or Shiny Shadow Pokemon hunts, the aspects that only speedrunning can provide is what makes Pokemon speedrunning such a special experience like no other. While Pokemon may not be a flashy speedrun like Mario 64 or Breath of the Wild, it's in the core strategies and menus that need to be performed at a moment's notice. The good and bad RNG that keeps everything fresh. Being able to blast through everything with some of the coolest Pokemon ever made. And the satisfaction that you put everything together. You made it this far. And you did it in the fastest way possible. All through the journey of a Pokemon speedrun.
Recently, I discovered a super restored Pokemon mobile game. When I first saw it, I had a wave of flashbacks. The gameplay of GBA makes people dream back to their childhood. At the beginning,
No!
Life is pain. It is chaos and rage, fear and abandonment. But from all this, there comes a sweet and terrible purpose.